This is Bedtime Stories, Grownup Edition, Sins of the Father, Part 16. When we left off with Part 15, Big Wood had put a bug in True's ear. Rennie and Stephanie had put the WWE SmackDown on the triplets. Idra dumped the Queen Mother. Catherine gave Amir instructions. Q directed Regina and LJ to head on home. And if you watched Part 1 and 2 of bonus episode 3, then you know what happened when True followed that lead, that all 5 of Nigel's children are in, that Amir followed Catherine's instructions, and what happened when LJ and Regina got home. It seems that the Queen Mother has gotten herself and her oldest son in quite a pickle, because Angela is not jacking Q as Kingpin, and the Queen Mother was left speechless when Idra told her to play in somebody else's face because he was not the one. She'd sent out a SOS to all of her girls, and since it was crack 30 in the morning, she didn't get any of them on the phone. Her sister-in-law, Contessa, Art's wife, gave her a call around 10:30 and said, "Bella, where are you?" And she said, "I'm in the guest house." "Where are you?" Tessa said, "I'm in the main house, in the study." "Did you forget that we'd all agreed to meet here at 10:30, or were you calling us all to tell us you weren't coming?" The Queen Mother said, "Girl, I forgot all about that. I was over here salty as hell because none of y'all called me back." Tessa said, "Well, I figured I'd see you here. Is everything all right?" The Queen Mother said, "Girl, no, everything is not all right. That damn Idra must have fell and bumped his head. You are not going to believe what that man said to me this morning." Tessa said, "Well, is it something that you want to discuss, just me and you? Or you want to come on over to the main house and we can all discuss it together?" The Queen Mother said, "I'm on my way." By that time, True had gotten the update from the soldiers who were responsible for monitoring the surveillance cameras at the cabin where Portia was holding Donovan, and she was discussing the intel with Manny. Manny said, "Donovan's a smart man. He knows what he's doing. If Portia's been calling Jeff for days and unable to get him on the phone, Donovan isn't bluffing when he tells her that he believes we have him. He knows us. And the fact that he mentioned Rennie and her skills says that he knows we're watching. And even if he doesn't know what our plans are, he's doing everything that he can to help us. Before you share any of this with Bella, I think you should let CT see that video. For the past few years, he and Donovan have gotten pretty close, and he's been serving as Donovan's spiritual advisor. Donovan was supposed to have everybody at church on Sunday. Well, he was going to share that he'd just gotten baptized. He was also going to share something else. I'm not sure what. I don't know if CT's at liberty to say, but I do know that he'll be able to tell if Donovan is serious about saving Portia's life." True said, "He can't be. That's just ridiculous. Why would he get that girl pregnant? He and Maribel just made up. And that woman is nuts." Manny said, "I don't profess to be a religious man, but I know God. I've had a relationship with him most of my life. As I age, he and I get a lot closer. I think that that's the way of all things. God's ways aren't our ways, True. While he's certainly not the author of confusion, he knows how to turn our tests into testimonies and our mess into messages. I'm not a preacher, but there's a scripture that says that God will use everything meant for evil for our good and his glory. I can see how he can use this. And I'm sure that Donovan can too. Believe it or not, I actually think that Donovan might be serious. But again, have that conversation with Corey. Let him see the video and make sure that Maribel and Rennie understand that whatever information they get from Jeff, they give it to you and no one else." Meanwhile, at the safe house, Rennie and Maribel have gotten that address out of Jeff. Rennie gave him the cocktail of drugs that would loosen his lips, and the family's physician monitored his vitals, while Maribel asked all the questions. Her very first question was, where is Portia holding Donovan? And fighting the medicine, Jeff said, "At a cabin." Maribel said, "Don't play with me. Where's the cabin?" Jeff said, "In Miami." Rennie said, "Maribel, you gotta be more specific than that. This medicine makes him tell the truth. It does not make him elaborate." Maribel said, "What is the address to the cabin where Portia is holding Donovan?" And then Jeff blurted out the address. Rennie looked up at the cameras in the room and said, "Do not, I repeat, do not give that address to anyone. We got it." Maribel said, "What is Portia's plan?" Jeff said, I don't know. Maribel said, Rennie, this medicine is not working. Rennie said, yes, it is. What was the plan as you knew it the last time you spoke to Portia? Jeff said, the plan was for her to sleep with Donovan on video, send it to me so that I could show it to Maribel. I would convince Maribel that Donovan was with Portia now. Use the fact that she and I had been intimate before and her hurt feelings over Donovan being with Portia as ammunition to get her to sleep with me. Maribel said, well, what was the next step in the plan? Jeff said, then I would send Portia the video of me and you having sex. Maribel said, you nasty. Rennie said, stay calm. What was the next step in the plan? Jeff said, Portia would show Donovan the video, convince him that Maribel and I were now together. She would get pregnant and convince him to marry her. Maribel said, and she actually thought that would work? Jeff said, yes. Rennie asked, did you think it would work? Jeff said, no. Rennie said, what did you think would happen? Jeff said, Donovan would kill Portia or Portia would kill Donovan. And one or both of them would blow up in the cabin. Maribel asked, are the devices around the property real? Jeff said, yes. Rennie said, that's not good enough. Will they actually go boom? Jeff said, yes. Rennie said, and what will set them off? Jeff said, if anybody enters the property while they're triggered, if Portia enters the code, or if Portia fails to enter the safe code. Rennie asked, is the safe code the same numbers over and over, or are they auto-generated? Jeff said, they're auto-generated. Rennie asked, how? Jeff said, using facial recognition software. At that moment, Maribel and Rennie knew that Portia had told Donovan the truth. Rennie asked, are the devices on the doors in the windows real? Jeff said, yes. Rennie asked, will they go boom? And if so, what triggers them? Jeff said, yes. If someone opens a door or a window while the devices are armed, they will all go boom. If Portia enters the detonation code, or if she fails to enter the safe code, or if someone enters the property while the external devices are armed. Rennie asked, are those devices armed at all times? Jeff said, no. Rennie asked, do you have a way to know when those devices are armed and when they're unarmed on your end? Jeff said, yes. Rennie asked, how can you verify whether they're armed or unarmed? Jeff said, using software on my phone. Rennie asked, where is your phone? Maribel said, Rennie said, shh. Jeff said, in the safe in my house. Then Maribel and Rennie realized at the same time that Jeff had been communicating with Portia on a completely different phone. That's why the phone that they had never rung when Portia was making those phone calls that she told Donovan were to Jeff. Rennie asked Jeff where the safe was located in his house. He told her, and when she asked for the code, the doctor shook his head no. The medicine had worn off, and Jeff was lying. Rennie said, so we go in that house. We go to that safe, and we enter the wrong code, and what happens? Jeff said, I don't know what you're talking about. Rennie said, nigga, I'm not new to this. This is my formula. I know how it works. I know when it stops working. And then she started beating the snot out of Jeff. Maribel, the doctor, and 3 guards had to pull her off of him. And in the hallway, she said, we're going to have to wait 24 hours before we can give her more of the medication. We're going to have to be precise when we ask the questions. The doctor said, and he's going to have to be consistently monitored between now and then. If his heart is showing any signs of weakness, you're not going to be able to give him any more of that medicine. It could kill him before you even get the answers that you're looking for. Maribel said, that's all right. I got a way to get him to tell me everything. Somebody bring me my medical card. I'm going to peel the skin off his member. The doctor said, you can't do that right now. One of the side effects of that medication is that it has serious impacts on the heart. Any kind of trauma to him right now is going to be dangerous. You won't get the answers that you're looking for. Rennie said, I'll give True the update. And don't forget, everything that you heard in that room is confidential. Even you, Maribel. Don't get no bright ideas and go over to that address. We need to know for sure that those devices are disarmed before we go anywhere near it. Maribel said, I don't need you to tell me that. That's my man. I wouldn't do anything to risk his life. Rennie said, good, because if you do, I'll kill you. Meanwhile, at the estate, the Queen Mother had brought her girls up to speed. In attendance was Catherine, Contessa, her best friend Nadia, Manny's wife Marisol, and by phone, Mom Brenda. Nadia signed, "Oh, Bella girl, I'm so sorry." And Marisol said, "You telling her sorry, you should be telling your big brother that you're sorry." And Catherine said, "'Cause anybody with sense knew that Bella wasn't going to do right." The Queen Mother said, "Huh, Catherine, you got some damn nerve." Catherine said, "What you trying to insinuate?" Bella said, "You think that I don't know? Just from the look on your face, that you turned that little boy every which way but loose last night." Catherine said, "I don't know what you're talking about." Tessa said, "What little boy?" Marisol said, "And how long has it been going on?" Catherine said, "The intention of this meeting was for us to discuss what's going on with the young women in the family." Bella came in here and commandeered the meeting, talking about her and Idra. "I did not sign up to talk about my personal life." Tessa said, "Well, considering that we all here for your husband's funeral, I think it's going to be a little difficult not to talk about your personal life, especially when you paraded 5 illegitimate children in front of the whole damn family yesterday." And Nadia signed, "And your deceased husband put your personal life on Front Street on his little video." The Queen Mother said, "So you might as well go ahead and tell us everything." Catherine said, "If I do, it better not leave this room." Tessa said, "Girl, you know that goes without saying." Catherine said, "Never mind. I can't discuss this with y'all." The Queen Mother said, "You're going to have to, because I need to hear something that's going to convince me not to kill him." Nadia signed, "I still don't even know who we talking about." Bella just stared at Catherine. Catherine said, "He had nothing to do with Nigel's death, Bella." Bella said, "Prove it." And then Catherine told them everything. Marisol said, "He had nothing to do with Nigel's death." Bella said, "How are you so sure?" Marisol said, "Because Nigel was ruthless. He knew what Amir was doing with his wife. He didn't kill either one of them. And he let Amir keep his job. If he even thought that man was a threat to his life or his safety, he would have handled it. And I know my husband. He told me that he had a meeting scheduled with the fellas this morning. I'm sure Amir's the topic of that conversation." Catherine said, "Oh, Lord." Bella said, "What's the matter? You worried they're going to offer your boy a toy?" Catherine said, "No. I'm worried that if you were able to put 2 and 2 together, so will they." Bella asked, "Oh, well. Now, what was it that you wanted to discuss?" Mom Brenda said, "Hold on, wait a minute," yelling through the speakerphone. "I haven't weighed in on this little Bella and Idris situation." Tessa said, "Oh boy, here we go." Everybody turned their Bibles to, and all the women just fell out laughing. Mom Brenda said, "Very funny, Contessa. I'm tired of raising y'all old biddies. Catherine, stop sleeping with that little boy." Catherine said, "I am. It was just for one night." And Bella, "Let Idra go." Tessa said, "No, I think she needs to go apologize and make up with him." Mom Brenda said, "You said that already. It's my turn now. You need to let him go. You wanted to see what it would be like to be with your childhood crush. Now you know. You don't like for anybody to tell you what to do. You followed Andy's lead, but barely. While you learned a lot from your marriage and the mistakes that you both made, you cannot teach an old dog new tricks." Bella said, "Are you calling me a female dog?" Mom Brenda said, "If the tail fits." And all the women burst out laughing. Mom Brenda said, "I love you, Bella. You my ace boom, but you look better single. Any man dealing with you gonna end up with ulcers. You're bossy, hard-headed, controlling, and you're already in love. So ain't no room for no man." Bella said, "In love with who?" Mom Brenda said, "No. The question is, in love with what?" And in unison, all the women said, while Nadia signed, being the queen pin. Mom Brenda said, "Idra wants to marry you. He wants to retire from the life, sip sweet tea on the porch, cash checks from his legitimate businesses, make love while he can still get it up, and contribute to the lives of your grandchildren. And you want to fly around the world, tying people up and breaking their kneecaps. You're living out the fantasy of what you didn't get to do when you chose to get married and have children instead. And nothing's wrong with that. Well, I mean, something's wrong with it, but I think we can all understand it. But leave Idra out of that. You told the man if he left not to come back. You said it with your chest. Stand on it." Bella said, "That was just rude, Brenda. You do know that I've killed people for less." Marisol said, "And that's precisely why you should just be single." Then Mom Brenda said, "Catherine, I want to tell you that I'm sorry for your loss. And I'm so glad to see that you're including Nigel's children in the family. But you up to something, and you may want to let these women know what it is. Because the younger women in this family are all having their worlds turned upside down right now. And you may not be able to tell them what's going on. But you all need to help them through it. Otherwise, there's going to be a whole lot more breakups. Angela's losing it over Q being the kingpin. True, don't know how to be a fiance and a right hand. Rennie is running around like a kid in a candy store. The Queen Mother said, "What? What's going on with that damn Rennie? And how do you know and I don't?" Mom Brenda said, "I've had a lot of time to pray while I've been in Puerto Rico. But I'm not done. Stephanie is head over heels in love with her ex-husband, and she want that old thing back. LJ is on his deathbed, and he has Regina sworn to secrecy. There's a solution, but it's very expensive. And after all LJ's done for this family, that cost is like a drop in the bucket. He's got too much pride to ask for help, and he's too afraid to keep praying for a miracle." Tessa said, "Not my baby. Oh, I love me some LJ now. We got to do something." Mom Brenda said, "I'm not done. Marisol, your husband is trying to get Ron to join the family's legal team, and Anya is none too pleased. And according to Melissa, we have quite a few baby showers that we gonna need to plan." In unison, all of the women said, "Who's pregnant?" And Mom Brenda said, "I'm not at liberty to say." Catherine said, "Well, my plan was to discuss with you all how we could get the younger women in the family to mentor Nigel's 3 daughters. They're obviously going to need some direction as they find their roles in this family and in the organization. But if they all got this much going on themselves, I don't know how much help they're going to be." Mom Brenda said, "I think we all know that even when we're at our lowest, we can still give others our best. The same way that you all have your own mess, yet you have plenty of wisdom that you can give to the younger women. Angela, Regina, Stephanie, True, even Rennie, Selima, and Anya all have valuable insights that they can contribute to the growth and development of those triplets. Now, the 3 musketeers might beat it into them, but it'll get in there." And all the women devolved into laughter yet again. Bella said, "Brenda girl, I wish you were here to help us with all this." Mom Brenda said, "Girl, I got you. Whether near or far, I got you. Call me back when y'all have those women assembled, because I got to go help Melissa with something." Meanwhile, in another room in the estate, Manny, Idra, Samuel, and Alejandro are having a similar meeting. Samuel said, "So you just gonna break my sister's heart? That's what you doing?" Idra said, "Nigga, if you don't get the hell out my damn face, your sister would have to have a heart. She ain't got one. Don't make me punch you in your damn face in here." Manny said, "Sam, cut it out. The Queen Bee does not need you to defend her. At some point, she was going to have to crap or get off the pot. You dealt with the same thing with Charlotte, just for different reasons." Samuel said, "So now what, Idra?" Idra said, "I finished training my nephew. I retire and I move on. But until then, I'll do all my coordinating and collaborating with y'all. I'd prefer not to even see her." Alejandro said, "It sounds like you're in love, because otherwise you wouldn't need to avoid her." Idris said, "I'm not denying my feelings. I'm wearing them on my damn sleeve. I left that damn guest house, went to that garden, and lost it. I've loved that woman my whole damn life. And now I'm done talking about this. What we gonna do about these young niggas? Because they tripping." Samuel said, "Tripping how?" Idris said, "I get it. You haven't been paying attention. You've been a little busy. But Q's on the edge of a relapse or a divorce. Wood is ready to commit patricide if he and True don't work this out. Something is up with LJ, and it's bigger than marital problems. Manny's over here trying to rope Ron into being the gangster's lawyer. Selima and Wise's honeymoon has to end eventually, and he's not prepared. And Catherine, she got so many moving pieces, it's looking like a Rubik's Cube. We need to figure out if Amir was in cahoots with Jeff so he could bag Nigel's old lady. What Catherine's doing with Saint and Sincere. And Corey's gonna need a push in the right direction, or you're gonna be looking for another replacement, Manny."